Day 93 of my 120. Today's discussion, I believe I've talked about it before. Like most things in this log entry series, you guys, I can't remember, we're at 93 days, I believe, of my 120, right? I can't remember the past 90 videos and 90 discussions I've talked about. But here is what I just thought of, because I went down, I seen the third assistant engineer, and he was making he was bending a pipe, and that made me think about how it's not that I regret going deck, but I still believe I would have enjoyed the engine department more so than deck. I went deck department because it was something I had no idea about. The engine department, I consider myself mechanically inclined. Would that be the way to phrase it? I know my way around a toolbox for the most part. So it's not something that I necessarily was striving to learn, because I already had an idea of it. And I know I've said this before. This discussion, though, that I thought of is the fact of you guys and gals that are going into the apprenticeship program, and when you get to third, you might already know which department you want to go in. But let me just put a little thought into it. The joke is at the program and in the industry in general is, the engine department, the things you learn, the areas you learn are easily transferable into the civilian world, whether it's HVAC, welding, mechanics in general, hydraulics, plumbing. All these types of things are more easily transferred into the civilian world, where in the union, going through the program, the deck department is kind of joked about, like, oh, what are you going to transfer into? School bus driver. Because what does the deck do? We drive boats. We drive boats, we navigate, we plot, and there's not much for the deck department that is necessarily transferable into the civilian world. The only thing that, the big benefit is teaching. Once you get so far up, you can start teaching. But that is a rare job to transfer into. I'd say for guys that have been in the deck department. So the benefit of the engine department is it's more easily transferred into. But I think a lot of guys, I know when I was in the program, there's a lot of younger guys that thought, oh, we're learning HVAC, we're learning plumbing, welding, hydraulics, oh, we can become welders, or, oh, we can become plumbers or electricians. That's not necessarily how it works out, okay? Now, this ship here, we have this company outsources for specific, we call them fitters, welders, to do all the welding. Nobody in the engine department actually does. They do welding when necessary, but the class they take for welding is only a 3 to 5 day class. So that's not a full course. That's not a full, civilian certificate for welding. That's a 3 to 5 day class certificate saying the basics of welding. It's not a certificate of, okay, you're a certified welder, you can weld anything we throw in front of you. The same thing goes for plumbing. So just because you might learn the way plumbing works on a ship, it doesn't mean you know how plumbing is going to work in a house, because you're not a house you're not a home builder. You're not a contractor for houses. Um, HVAC, you might, heating and air conditioning, that might be a little easier transferred over. The same thing with hydraulics and like diesel motors. Maybe you become a diesel mechanic, but same scenario. Just because you've been taught diesel mechanics for ships and diesel motors, it doesn't mean that you're going to come back to the civilian world and walk right into a diesel mechanic job. Because there's diesel certifications for trucks, and there's different types of certifications, both for being on the ship and off the ship. And just because you went engine department for the maritime industry, it doesn't mean you're going to be certified to work all those engine department areas in the civilian world. You're still going to have to go out and either get recertified, or here's on the other side of it, find a company or a business owner or somebody like that is not necessarily the certifications they're looking for, but the experience. Now, that has become a long way. That has come a long way in nowadays, where experience, I'd say it's on the fence. Actually, I can't, I don't know everything, but I'd say it's on the fence, where I've heard both ways of, experience is going to go a whole lot farther than somebody that just has the schooling. But then again, there's the side of, if you don't have the schooling, then you might not even get looked at. So like I said, you might be certified on the ship for these departments and HVAC and welding and all this other stuff, but you don't have the civilian certification for it. Though you might be able to show the owner of the business or the company that is landside that you do have the experience doing it, and that could get you the job. But at the same time, a guy that, like me on the deck side, not me necessarily, but a guy that comes from the deck department, he could be going home and welding on the side for fun or whatever, and he could show the exact same experience as the guy in the engine room. Because when it comes down to that, it comes down to the experience of the person. So, like I said, I don't want to be repetitive here again. I know I can get repetitive, I'm sorry. Certificates on the ship don't necessarily transfer to certificates on land. 3 to 5 days of a welding class does not transfer to a 2-year-long welding class on land. They're different certifications. Experience, though, can go just as far in the right area. But yeah, so to my point, it's not that I regret it, but I think I much rather would have preferred going engine. There's the thought that most guys went engine. Like when I went in school, I'm telling you, my deck department class was like 7 guys compared to the 18 guys that went engine. And 90% of the reason why guys go engine, it's not that they're interested in mechanics or engineering or anything. It was always, we can transfer this over into the civilian world easier. Yeah, you can transfer the experience over easier, but you also have to show the experience. Okay? I know I mentioned before, the first assistant engineer here, I mean, he's supposed to be, well rounded on everything on the ship. The first assistant engineer, I mean, that's it's like basically the chief mate of the deck, but it's the first assistant engineer. Me and him had this conversation, and we kind of joked about him being the first assistant engineer, but not knowing how to fix his own truck. He knows, diesel motors, he knows welding, he knows plumbing, he knows HVAC, yet he can't figure out what's wrong with his own truck at home. So you got taught diesel mechanics and how motors work on a ship, but you don't know how a truck motor works at home. That doesn't really make sense. So you're going home to get a job as a mechanic in the civilian world. Oh, I have experience working on motors, but I don't know how to fix this motor. Okay. That's what I got for tonight, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if this made sense, and if it made you really realize the difference between experience and certifications, I guess. I don't know. Hit that subscribe button, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm out.